Hey guys, it's Ria. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be filming a very exciting video for you all. I am going to be filming my 90-day update after going off of the hormonal birth control pill after 8 years. So I'm going to be going through everything that I've experienced thus far in this journey of kind of regaining my hormonal balance in my body and just becoming a healthier woman. So if you guys are interested in that, please keep on watching this video. There are lots of great updates in this video, and if you guys want to see more content like this from me, please do not forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, as well as hit that notification bell so you'll get alerted of all of my new postings. Alrighty guys, let's jump right in. So I feel like I can't really film this video without kind of doing a little life update as well. So I'm gonna briefly go over what's been going on in the past 90 days of my life as well, because it kind of will tie into everything going on with going off of the birth control pill as well. So basically, to sum it all up, I recently moved back home to my home state of Colorado because I ended my 8-year relationship. We're not going to go into that, but it will have we won't go into that, but it will kind of explain a lot about how my journey went for me as well, just because it was a huge life change as well as going off the pill in the same time frame. So I do just kind of have to preface that, as I went through a major breakup during this time as well, moved across the country, started a whole new job again. So just keep that in mind while I'm talking about all this. Alright, so the first thing I do want to talk about is please go watch my first video I made describing why I went off the hormonal birth control pill, as well as the 30-day Brighton program that I was going to be following in the first 30 days of going off of hormonal contraceptives. By the way, I'm so sorry if you guys can hear Mar in the background. She's playing. I'm trying to keep her mentally stimulated, but anyways, I do apologize if there's some background kitty cat noise. So please refer back to my first video I made about this process. I am just going to be covering my first 90 days of being off the pill and not going to go too much into why I decided to go off of hormonal contraceptives in the first place. So please go watch that video. I'll link it down in the description box. And we're gonna start by going over all of the symptoms that I experienced within the first 90 days of going off the pill. Okay, so I'm gonna briefly go over what kind of happened as soon as I went off the pill. So as soon as I went off the pill, I had my first withdrawal bleed, which is not a real period. It's when you have that week of fake pills in your pill pack. So of course I had that right when I stopped taking the pill. So I had my final withdrawal bleed, which was normal, like what I've expected for the past 8 years of being on the pill. And then it was kind of a waiting game to see when my real period was going to actually show up. So without going into too much like graphic detail, unfortunately I did have kind of a situation within the first 2 weeks of going off the pill where I felt like I needed to take emergency contraceptive. I wasn't in the right place, obviously, to risk an unwanted pregnancy. So I did take Plan B a couple weeks after I went off the pill, which I really didn't want to do, but it was better than the alternative of a potential unwanted pregnancy. So I did take Plan B a couple weeks after going off the pill, just because I had kind of a sketchy situation with my ex-boyfriend, where I didn't feel like it would have been safe to not take emergency contraceptive. So I did take Plan B, which is just like a super flood of estrogen and progestin. It's basically like a hormonal birth control pill, but like way higher dosages of the hormones in order to delay ovulation. So unfortunately, I did do that, and I kind of set myself back a couple weeks within the process. But it was what I had to do, I felt like. And yeah, I didn't notice anything from taking emergency contraceptives that was any different than, but I mean, I'd been on the pill for 8 years, so I mean, I was used to having synthetic hormones in my body. So I think it was probably about a week to 10 days after I took the emergency contraceptive, I got another period, which still isn't a real period because of the synthetic hormones in the high dosages from the emergency contraceptive. So I didn't count that as my first real period because I knew that it was not going to be the same and probably a lot different than a real period because of the use of Plan B. So I did do that, did not want to do it, but you know, a girl's got to do what a girl's got to do sometimes. So from then on was the real waiting game of let's see when, if I get my first real period. Okay, so some of the symptoms that I started to experience pretty much immediately after the synthetic hormones were starting to leave my body and I was following the 30-day Brighton program was I started to break out. My skin got so congested and oily, and I started to get a lot of acne. I wish that I took pictures during this time, but like I explained before, this was like one of the most stressful times of my entire life because of what was happening in my relationship and my personal life. But I'm just gonna try and go over everything that I do remember, and you'll just have to take my word for it. But yeah, I immediately started to break out in my T-zone and in around my nose and chin area, which is typically where I break out. I don't break out on my cheeks hardly at all ever. So I started to break out once the hormones were kind of detoxing through my body. So the two ways that you detox through your body is through your poop and your skin. So my thing is I started to break out, which can be prevented per Dr. Jolene Brighton. Make sure you are pooping every day. So eating super healthy, drinking a ton of water, make sure you're taking your supplements. That is a way to prevent your toxins to be coming through your skin and to be going out the way they're supposed to be. But anyways, I did start to break out. Another thing that was super scary for me was I was losing hair like crazy. So I already don't wash my hair every day. I wash my hair 2 to 3 times a week, probably more like 2 actually. So I was used to losing a lot of hair in the shower when it was wash day, but oh my God, you guys, like when I say I was losing hair, I'm talking like clumps in the shower drain. It was like the drain catch was completely full of hair, and I was just like losing a ton of hair on my pillow. I was just losing a lot of hair, which was so scary to me because like I feel like one of my better assets is my hair, and I was like, oh my God, is it ever gonna stop? Like I noticed a lot of thinning around my hairline, and it was very worrisome to be losing that much hair. I'm pretty sure that it was because of my hormonal fluctuations, but also I was going through like the most stress of my entire life because of ending my relationship and figuring out how to move across the country and all that stuff, moving back home. So it's kind of, I wish that I could have done this whole like process without the added like stressors of what was going on in my personal life, so I could actually have like a good like study sample of what going off the pill like actually did to my body. But I mean, I think a lot of it was my hormone imbalance after going off the pill after 8 years. So yeah, I started to get acne and I was losing hair like crazy. My skin never really got that bad. It was just like I noticed more than normal breakouts, and the hair loss was actually very concerning to me. But those are the two biggest things that I noticed right away. The next thing I want to talk about is completing the 30-day Brighton program. So the 30-day Brighton program, I go in depth in my last video about, but basically it is a hormone supportive detox for 30 days to include cutting certain things out from your diet, such as gluten, soy, dairy, grains, all sugars, alcohol, artificial sweeteners, and I'm probably forgetting something at this point, but I did complete the 30-day Brighton program because I wanted to make sure that I gave myself a really good head start in order to really tackle any hormone imbalances that might show up head on, so that I didn't have to work as hard to figure it out once I was facing more issues, if that makes sense. So I completed the 30-day Brighton program. It actually wasn't that hard. I do like to eat more paleo based anyways. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It made me feel a lot better. I immediately noticed that I was starting to lose weight. Again, I was going through a lot of stuff in my personal life, so I wasn't eating as much just because of stress. I'm sure that all the added stress did not help in this process, because stress is such a huge task on your body. But I immediately did lose weight, which was one of my goals of going off the pill. I feel as if I had an estrogen dominance because of all of the synthetic hormones I was taking into my body from taking the pill for 8 years. So I had suspected that I had an estrogen dominance going into this, and I've only solidified that seeing what I'm seeing now. So I immediately did lose weight. I could tell I was losing body fat a lot faster, which when you have a estrogen dominance, you hold on to more body fat. So that was really encouraging to see that I immediately was losing weight, and it was because I was eating healthier and I was eating a lot less. So that it might just be correlation, but I mean, hey, it can't just be that. I'm sure that having lower levels of estrogen in my body definitely facilitated the weight loss to happen even faster. When it's all said and done, I did lose about 10 pounds throughout this process, which doesn't sound like a lot to some people, but I mean, I am 5'5" and I was about 140 pounds going into this, and I am down to like 129 right now. So that was really exciting, and I'm gonna move on into all the positive results I've been seeing throughout this. Right, so one of the things that is piggybacking off of the weight loss that I've experienced is I have found it so much easier to put on muscle mass already. So as you guys might know, I do love lifting weights. I love weight training. I love going to the gym, and I love working out. It's really been like great for my mental health in these past 90 days. And I have noticed more muscle gain in these 90 days than I've experienced this fast ever in my whole time of my fitness journey. And I truly believe that is because I don't have an insane estrogen dominance anymore. My levels of testosterone are probably able to shine through a little bit more, and I am able to build a lot more muscle mass. I mean, I'm wearing a flowy shirt here, but like, you can already see, like, I am building muscle like crazy, and I'm only working out about 4 times a week at this point. So yeah, that is something that's super exciting about this journey, is I am able to gain muscle mass so much easier now, which is so exciting. I have gotten rid of so much stubborn fat that used to hang around, and it's been great for my body image and mental health as well, because I used to feel like I could never lose that little bit of lower belly fat and all of the excess fat around my thighs, which I will always have extra fat around my thighs. That is where I hold on to my weight. But it's like my cellulite has like been reduced so much just because I think my body fat percentage has gone down. I would be very interested to get my body fat percentage measured again. I'm really thinking about getting one of those fancy scales. I know that they're not super accurate when reading body fat percentage, but I really do want to kind of like track my fitness journey now that I know that there are no outside influences. It's all just me and how much effort I'm putting into my fitness journey. So what I want to talk about next is that my acne and hair loss did stop. So obviously my skin is very clear right now. I do have some acne scarring just from a breakout from my first real period that I had, which I will talk about in just a minute. But my hair loss has, I mean, everybody has like normal hair loss, but my hair loss has completely stopped. I mean, my hair is back to its normal thickness, and I think it's actually even healthier than it was when I was on synthetic hormones. So that's exciting. My hair loss probably lasted about 3 weeks of actual like concerning amounts of hair loss. 3 to 4 weeks, maybe a little longer, but about a month. I was just like, oh my gosh, I am losing so much hair. And my skin cleared up pretty much immediately when I moved home to Colorado as well. My skin just really likes Colorado weather. It's so dry here, but my skin likes it. My skin did not like the humid climate in North Carolina. It was insanely oily in North Carolina. So a lot of this is just a combination of what's been happening in the last 90 days of my life, but I'm just really excited that the hair loss has stopped and my skin is pretty much clear now as well. So that's really exciting that the worst of the symptoms has gone away and I am all good now. So let's talk about my first real period. Well, I didn't know I would ever be talking about my period on the internet, but anyways, that's besides the point. So after my final like fake period with synthetic hormones in my body after the Plan B, I was playing the waiting game of, okay, when is my real period gonna actually show up? So it was probably within about, I would say it was within 30 days, about a month of my last like Plan B hormonal contraceptive, emergency contraceptive period. So I don't even consider this my first real period. So I had a few days of very like sluggish brown spotting, and I was like, is this my first real period? Like, I don't know if I should count that as my first real period, but I had like 3 days of spotting that was like really like low flow and barely, I didn't even like need to use anything. It was basically just like, spotting. So I don't really consider that my first real period. And then it was very strange. Probably about 2 weeks later, the same thing happened again. So I don't know if it was like my body trying to ovulate, if it was I don't know. I really don't know what it was, but I had within the span of 3 weeks, I had a few days here and there of very brown, sluggish, like not a real period spotting, which was very strange. And I was like, is this how my period's gonna be for the rest of my life? Like, what's going on? What does this mean? So I was just kind of going with it, just seeing what my body wanted to do. And then probably a couple weeks after my last like spotting episode, I woke up first thing in the morning. My boobs had been super like tender, but they had been tender during the spotting episodes. So I was like, oh, what's going on? My boobs have been super tender and swollen, but I woke up one morning and I had period cramps, and they weren't like insane like they were when I was like 14 years old when I first went on the pill. But I woke up first thing in the morning and girl, I knew what was gonna happen. I was like, this is for real, for real. This is gonna be my period. And I had a insanely heavy period for about 2 days. Like bright red, all the clotting. Sorry, this is like really in detail, by the way. If you don't want to hear this, you probably shouldn't have watched this video. But it was a very heavy, like clot heavy period for the first 2 days. And then it went down to like a light to moderate flow. And then it was basically done. It was like, I was like, okay, yeah, that is my first real period. So that was probably a couple weeks ago now at this point. I experienced 2 like kind of like fake outs, and then I got the real thing probably within about 45 days of my last ingestion of any synthetic estrogen and progestin. So yeah, everybody's gonna be different, but that is what happened to me with my first real period after getting off the pill. Now I want to talk to you guys about the birth control method I am going to be using going forward. So as soon as I got back home to Colorado, I downloaded the Flow app. So that is a fertility and cycle tracking app that I do pay for because I think it's worth it to kind of like see the predictions in ovulation, like your luteal phase. It's very insightful if you log in all your information correctly. And you pay for the Flow app because they guarantee that they're not going to sell your information about your cycle and your health to any outside resources. So I would just be aware of that. I'm very aware of like my health records being shared with people. And when you use other certain non-paid for apps, such as like just like your Apple Watch or your iPhone, when you're logging in those symptoms about your cycle and all of your health insights, if you're not paying for it, I guarantee you they are selling your information about your health. So just keep that in mind. But yes, so I do use the Flow app. I try my darndest to log everything every day. So you're gonna log your cervical fluid, you're gonna log all of your symptoms basically. So if you have had sex, unprotected sex, if you are noticing a change in your libido, if you are noticing a change in like your mental health state, so feeling kind of like anxious, or if you have a lot of energy, all those different things are controlled by where you are at in your cycle. So it's very in-depth. I really like the Flow app. If you guys can afford to have that monthly that expense, I think it's a one-time expense for like a paid membership for the entire year, if I recall correctly. I would definitely look into that if you are exploring going off of hormonal birth control, just so you can kind of like get help with getting to know your cycle and your body a lot better. So yes, I have been using the Flow app, and it's been pretty spot on with its predictions already, which is interesting. So it'll tell you your chance of getting pregnant as well within your cycle. So obviously, don't rely just on that for your accuracy for your birth control. But if you are following fertility awareness method, all of those insights are very good to know, and they're just going to keep learning the more information you put into any of those fertility tracking apps. So a lot of you guys are probably wondering what kind of method of birth control I'm planning on using going forward in my life. So I am going to be planning on in the future using the fertility awareness method, which when I do plan on start using that again, I will make a whole in-depth video about the fertility awareness method. But basically it's a monitoring of your cervical fluid or your discharge and your waking body temperature, so your basal body temperature. and all of that information will tell you where you're at in your cycle and your chances of getting pregnant if you were to have unprotected sex. So that is what I plan on using in the future. Obviously, if I, and the barrier methods, so like condoms and stuff like that, because I really do not ever see myself going back to being on hormonal birth control ever again in my whole life. Like, I just feel so happy and so healthy, and I'm not living this like facade of healthy living anymore. I was always very insecure about being on hormonal birth control when I would preach like holistic and healthy living to people all the time. Not preach, but like everybody knows me. I'm a little like holistic, healthy, hippie chick, you know, when it comes to that stuff. And I always felt like very fraudulent talking about holistic health and lifestyle when I was taking synthetic hormones into my body every single day. And I am just so much happier now. I feel like my mental health is better. I don't get as many anxious thoughts anymore. And my life has just like changed so much in the past 90 days, and so much for the better. Like, I am the happiest and healthiest I have been in so long. And it's great. I would highly encourage anybody who is curious about going off of hormonal birth control to just give it a shot. Be careful, be safe, do your research. I talked about this in my last video, but the two books that really prepared me for this journey were Taking Charge of Your Fertility by Toni Weschler and Beyond the Pill by Dr. Jolene Brighton. Those are like literally going to be your Bible for going through this journey of getting off of hormonal birth control. And I would highly suggest it to most women. I obviously think that every woman should have the choice of taking whatever birth control is best for her, but do your research. If you're curious about getting off of synthetic hormones, which can be super harmful for everybody involved. I mean, we have so many phytoestrogens in our life, and then on top of it, we're going to be taking synthetic hormones into our body as well. I mean, we're just inundated with toxins in general, even if you try to live a holistic and healthy lifestyle. So where I can limit it, I'm going to, and I don't ever foresee myself going back onto hormonal birth control ever again, because I feel like a whole new woman, and it's great. Alrighty guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of TMI and super in-depth, but I wanted to update you guys on how I was feeling throughout my journey of going off of the pill. And these first 90 days, I'm already feeling so great about my decision, and I'm excited to share any other updates with you guys throughout this series. I am feeling like I'm on a pretty even keel. I really only have gotten one full real period, I feel like, within these first 90 days. So I'm probably going to do another update in about 30 days or so, just to see where I'm at and how I'm feeling about my decision, and just to make sure that everything is still going great like it is right now. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please do not forget to like this video and subscribe. It really is helping me out. I am going to get so much more consistent with my content, and I am really excited for where my future is taking me right now. So thank you again for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye guys.